You're listening to Sonny's Monday Motivation here on loudmouthradio.com. On a tight budget? Find local savings on loudmouth.com. Find great coupon deals in your area of local restaurants, hair salons, auto, home improvement, contractors, and more. Rate and review your favorite businesses or click and connect them on your favorite social network pages with a friend. Loudmouth.com, the voice for local search, local business, and local savings. Register your small business online today with loudmouth.com, the small business choice for affordable internet and local advertising with plans as low as $65 a month. Create your business mini website profile promoting your products and services. Join the Loudmouth Network and get top placement on loudmouth.com today.
Happy Monday, guys. It's your host, Sonny. I hope everyone is having an amazing start to their day. It is that time. It's Monday, and I get an opportunity to have another motivational message brought to you today. And I am so excited about having this time and moment to talk with you and to hopefully get your week started off on a good foot. This actual broadcast is being sponsored by Carumba.com, as well as loudmouth.com, the voice for local search, local business, and local savings. And I am so happy to be able to just speak today and just feel better, because I tell you, the last few days I have been under the weather. And, whenever, it's easy to always say, oh, I'm going to get this done, But what happens when something like your health gets challenged and you're not feeling well? How do you show up then? How do you function in a sense of, day-to-day activities when you're not feeling well? Thank God I've never really been like this sickly person. And I say that keenly. I don't take that for granted, because that's not everybody's story. Some people really have, real chronic illnesses, which causes them to have to fight to live every day. And so for me to, not feel well, that's not my norm. And it's always really evident when I'm not feeling well. I can't pretend to say that, hey, it's this, and this. No, you can tell. If you know me, you can tell. And so having to make adjustments to just that, not feeling well, put me in a situation of, all right, I'm going to have to do some things differently, because today I'm not able to pull it together. And there are days like that. But does that mean that you just stop completely? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to. The body has an amazing way of giving you indication of when things need to be slowed down, or you need to stop, or something's wrong, or there's some infection or anything. The body's a wonderful, amazing portal. It's just such a gift. And I know, as I've, over the years, I was a professional athlete, and, no longer competing at a level in which I used to, but I had to learn early on how to listen to my body, right? And so even with the awareness of when my body's not necessarily in the right alignment, that does not mean I just can't continue to keep doing things that I need to do at some point, right? But I can tell you that when you do become more in tune with yourself and your body, it does make a difference as to how you navigate and how you do things, which is part of my conversation I wanted to talk about today, is about being consistent. And even with your health, if you consistently pay attention to your body in times of up times when your body's in a lack stressful space of, where it's, you may be doing an optimal performance. You might be someone that works manual labor. You may be an athlete. You may be a dancer. You may be a gymnast, an athlete of some sort. So, your body indicates a lot. And I think sometimes that we do not take note of the fact that how important our bodies is a direct result of the other things that's going on in our life. But trust me when I tell you, if you were not feeling well, it would affect whatever you do. And if you don't believe me, just think about a time when you weren't feeling well and you had other things in front of you scheduled or planned, and something came up. Maybe your stomach was upset, you had a headache, or something just did not cause you to feel your normal self, and it affects you. It can knock you off your game, and that's okay, because sometimes you do get sick, right? So even within that, in moments like those, you still want to be consistent in the aspect of understanding that your body's trying to tell you something. So, a lot of times people only evaluate consistency towards like work or objectives or things of that nature, but sometimes you have to be consistent about yourself overall, right? And if you can be more consistent about yourself, it'll start showing up in other ways. Point taken. You get up in the morning. What's one of the first things you do? Maybe you make up your bed. Either you consistently do that or you consistently don't. Consistency I think, is a direct result of habits. Habits are a direct result of things that we've come to practice and do on a day-to-day basis. And those practices on a day-to-day basis is where it starts. And that's the beginning of the long tail effect of where your consistency lies. So if you're in a habit of not doing certain things or doing anything that gives you a level of a rhythm, you'll know it. You'll feel it. I know that for myself, when I'm out of that rhythm, I can tell. Mentally I can tell, emotionally I can tell. My innate spiritual realm within feels the imbalance. And for me, I don't like it. I don't like the feeling. I don't like the idea that I'm not just being the consistency of what I need. Now, does that also mean being routine? Well, it could be debatable. Routines could consist of different things, but even being in a routine does not necessarily make you be consistent. Because also I think consistency is follow through. Consistency is execution. Even if it's not complete, that does not mean you weren't consistent and that you didn't follow through. It may not have been completed, but and sometimes it will. The level in which we maneuver, the level in which we commit ourselves shows up so much in our lives, to a point that I think we are so oblivious to what that may look like. And in terms of that, what you say, Sonny, well, what do you mean by that? My thought is, there's abrupt aspects of life. There's things that can kind of come into your existence that you're not expecting. Sometimes things do come up in front of you based upon decisions you made in and other times. But at the end of the day, life is peaks and valleys. Is yin and yang. It's ducking and dodging sometimes from obstacles that are thrown at you. Right. And then sometimes you just got to stand up and walk right into it, whatever it is that you need to do. And at the end of the day, just getting up and walking in and steadily going forward or steadily moving is a consistency. It's a way of being, right? And even for myself, I tell you guys, a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you are real aspects that I do to check myself or to check in with myself. Right? And so if you're being consistent and showing up, like for instance, my brand, Loudmouth, I have been consistently evolving the brand, pushing the brand. When I first started till now, it's vastly different. There's a lot of things different. There's a lot of advances. There's a lot of aspects. I'm one of those people that's constantly brainstorming, and I'll notate things, and I may not activate them for years, but that does not mean they're not on my radar or they're not in my plan, so they're not a part of the bigger picture. But I've come to learn that some of those things that we're doing require us to pace ourselves. So for me, pacing myself with, I can say literally starting out knowing that I've always had this aspect of being a resource, of a go between consumers and businesses, business to consumer, and that has evolved over the years. Our platforms have advanced, they've changed. Some things I've continued with, some things I've put to the side. Some things I've tested out and tried. And with all of that, just goes to show that at some point there's still an underlying consistency of advancement, of brand building. And so I think that it's so important that individually we understand where our foundation is, right? If you know where your foundation lies, even if it's at the midway or at the top, it might get a little foggy, or you might feel like you're being distracted, or you may feel like you're not getting enough done. Kind of fall back to your foundation. And for me, my foundation has always been to empower, inspire, entertain. And also in business too, I've even added in the quorum of empowering, inspiring, and influencing too, right? So I've always had these core value segments that have been my legs. And I think that the more grounded and the more connected I stay to those principles, the easier it is for me to stay consistent. So I think that we're in a day and age now that we see a lot more brands, whether they're for-profit, non-profit, small corporation, large corporation, religious groups, things of that nature. People are finding themselves committing to maybe a word or a sentence, or maybe for me it's a three-word bulletin piece, or it could be a slogan, whatever it is that becomes a value system to you. Make that be the part that be your layer of your foundation, and then that way when things are off, or you may be down on some things today, or you're clouded and you don't have good direction, and you're not sure which way you should be moving or going, you can fall back on your foundation. Your foundation will help you to remind you why you're even doing this, why you're here, what is it that you've always set your eyes on. And not to say that things can't change, they can, but 9 times out of 10, the layer of your foundation is the why, right? And it's the why that helps you to continue to keep going when the what, when, and where may not be connecting. Trust me, I know. So, guys, I just wanted to share that tidbit and say, look, at the end of the day, if we can all work better to be consistent and stay consistent, be consistent, stay consistent. And I know that even in moments where things are hazy, the clouds will clear, the sky will open up, and things will look brighter. So I want to tell y'all thank you, man. I'm doing better at this time thing. I said I want to make them short and sweet, get to the point, make it real juicy and fine, and make sure that it's something that you can align with. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, love and light.
No matter the time or the season, we're open and available 24/7. Shouldn't your dealership be too? Carumba.com, the convenient online used vehicle marketplace. Register your independent dealership now. You're listening to